Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Tony Palen. He is an entrepreneur, personal development, and mindset coach. Welcome to the show, Tony.
KJ, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Happy
You
to be
are
here.
welcome. You are welcome to the show, Tony. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll be talking about cultivating a positive mindset for personal development. So, Tony, my first question is to there was a time which was not a great time, and now is a time when you have achieved success for yourself. Tell us a bit about your story so that people can learn directly from your story itself, straight away from you.
Absolutely. All right. So, for 20 years of my life, probably starting in my teens, I'm 46 years old now, but starting in my teens, I started dabbling with alcohol and drugs. And it became apparent that it was a problem once I hit college. I was kicked out of the military at age 19 for an alcohol rehabilitation failure. I failed miserably in rehabilitation. So they kicked me out of the military. Went to college, lost my college track and cross country scholarship due to alcohol and drug use. And it went on and on and on for years and years and years into my professional life, losing jobs, getting in accidents with company cars while drinking, just it was a disaster. But I somehow was able always to land on my feet but I was still an alcoholic. I was a heavy drinker. And I actually got to the point where I needed probably anywhere from 6 to 10 bottles of wine a day just to function. And I didn't get sober, KJ, till I was 40 years old. So I was 20 years in addiction and just kind of muddling through, just kind of getting through, not really accomplishing much, but being able to, from an outsider's perspective, looking in, saying, okay, well, he's held this great job. He's got a good job. He's making 6 figures. He's able to have relationships that they don't seem to work out, but still, he's just one of those guys. And it wasn't until I got sober at age 40 that I saw that there needed to be a change. So I got sober at age 40. And from that time on, I quit my job, my 6-figure job. I left my 401k and all my benefits and my retirement plan. I left it all to start my own business. And what I wanted to do was get people like myself into treatment. So for the last 6 years, that's what I've done, is get people that are in a really bad state with withdrawal, with the symptoms of withdrawal from drugs and alcohol, and get them immediately medically treated. And then the next day I get them into treatment. But my question always was, and this is what everything I've done is from my own experience, from my business to my personal development program. It's all from my personal experience. And what I always struggled with was, okay, now I'm sober, but now what? What's next? And for a lot of people, they are satisfied because addiction is a horrible thing. It's ruined their lives and their families' lives. So once they're on the other side of addiction and they are sober, they are satisfied with being sober. But there's so much more to life than just being sober, right? So my thing was, what do we do now? How do we excel? How do we get to that next level? How do we create situations for ourselves that we never thought possible? And through my own mentors, and I sought out mentorship, right? And when I sought out mentorship, I didn't want to seek it out from somebody in AA that was smoking cigarettes and had certain vices. I sought mentorship out from the best people there were, from sober people that had reached levels of success that I could only dream of. I'm talking millions, I'm talking billions. So I started investing in masterminds and going to these events and expanding my circle and losing the circle of friends that were bringing me down, right? So I always say, show me your future, or show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So you are only as strong as the weakest link in your circle of friends. And if you have a weak circle of friends, you're never going to grow. So I wanted to give that to people. I wanted to extend to them the experiences that I had to endure, and then the things that I did and implemented in my life to get to the level where I am today. So today I own a 7-figure company. I own several companies, but I'm a 7-figure entrepreneur, and I am happier than I've ever been, right? But to me, that's not the limit. I'm still growing. There's constant development going on here. I still have mentors. I still hang out with people. When I walk in a room with my people, the people I call the circle of friends, I'm the least successful. And that's how it should be. Because if you never want to be the most successful guy in the room, because then there's no room for growth. There's no room for expansion, right? So for me, it's constant growth and constant development. And it starts simply with a mindset shift. And everybody probably hears people online talking about mindset. But what is it, right? It's just basically being aligned, aligning your thoughts and your actions with the goal that you want to achieve, just being aligned. And in order to do that, you have to implement certain strategies in your life, certain non-negotiables that I call them, things that you do not deter from no matter what life throws at you. Your non-negotiables. For me, for example, I'll tell you about my day. I get up at 4 a.m. I make my morning meal. I go to the gym. I come back. I meditate. I check my to-do list. I do my manager calls, my sales team calls. I do all my business stuff. And I always track my macronutrients. I always want to know what's going in my body. And I'm very, very acutely aware of what's going in my body. And I'm very acutely aware of my fitness. So it starts with fitness and nutrition for me. And if you can dial that in, the discipline it takes to dial that in and to become fit and conscious of what you're eating, it all then just kind of goes in different directions, and everything, it encompasses everything else, right? So once you can nail that down, then you can start shifting your mindset. Your mind shift is necessary, and that just occurs. And if you can do your daily negotiables, it's stacking those wins one after another on a daily basis. For me, I have 30 to 40 things on my to-do list every day, and they're as small as feeding the dogs, for instance, and as large as being on a podcast, right? So I have these things. And when I look at my day, I always look at my day and I audit my day at the end of the day. Say, where did I win? Where did I fall short? Because tomorrow is going to be a better day than today. And if you can make every day that precedes the last better than the last, then you are winning and you are on your way. So that's my mindset. And that's what I mean by mindset shift. And once you develop these habits, it turns into a lifestyle. And once you develop that lifestyle, it becomes harder to stop these things that used to be difficult than it ever was than to begin them. So, it's just it's a process, man, and it's difficult. It's not always easy. And for me, for instance, today, I stayed up a little later than I usually do. I had some work to do, unexpected things that came up. And that 4 a.m. alarm clock went off. And I told myself, I said, Tony, what is 30 minutes? What's 30 minutes? Just hit that snooze button. 30 more minutes. Nobody's going to know. But, I would have known. And I would have known that I failed myself. So I like to say that if you can look at yourself in the mirror on a daily basis, strip down, look at yourself in the mirror, and you love what's coming back at you, and all the things that you hear coming back at you are positive, then you're golden, then you're good. But the negative things that you hear, maybe it's you shouldn't be drinking as much. Maybe it's you shouldn't be doing drugs. Maybe it's you need to be a little bit nicer to your wife or your kids. You need to set a better example. You need to be in better shape. Whatever it is, that is your conscience. And you have to listen to your conscience. I always say your conscience is like the voice of your higher power, God, whatever you believe in. But if you ignore your conscience, you're doing a disservice to yourself. So listen to your conscience. You know what's right. You just have to start taking the steps to do it. So that's my philosophy, essentially.
Right, Tony. Now, you said that you didn't become sober until you were 40 years old. I want to understand what was the motivation at that point in time, and what was not earlier on. Why I ask this is I want to get this answer for people, how they can look at the positive side of what they can do, what they have in them at whatever stage which they feel is the most difficult stage that can lead them to alcoholism or any sort of drugs. That's
Right.
why
So
I asked.
you don't have to be an alcoholic by definition to have an issue with drugs or alcohol, right? For me, it was an event that happened with a young lady that I was dating at the time, my girlfriend of several years, and I had blacked out. We had gotten into an argument, and it got physical. Okay, so it wasn't much of a physical altercation, but it was enough that I had put my hands on her that she was scared. When I found, and then I was arrested for kind of holding her up against the wall. It was just a bad situation, right? Uncalled for. And when that happened, and I found out, I had to hear about it because I didn't remember it. I was in a cell, in a jail cell, naked, in a padded room because apparently I had tried to commit suicide in the other cell. Again, I don't remember. So when I realized that I had lost control to that extent, I never wanted it to happen again. Never wanted it to happen again. And I told myself, naked in that padded room in jail, if I get out of this, even if I don't, if I have to do time, if I don't get out of this, or if I do, I'm going to change my life. I will never drink again. And I never did. I didn't go to traditional rehab. I did have to do some medical detox because I was physiologically addicted to alcohol. But I didn't do traditional rehabilitation. What I did was reach out to some doctor friends of mine who helped me medicate to get through withdrawal symptoms. And then I basically just implemented all those steps I told you in my life, a structured lifestyle with a purpose. The purpose being to reach self-awareness at some point. I don't think I'll ever reach it, but the journey there is what's important. It's the person you become on that journey to self-awareness that is what is important. So with that being said, everything changed when I sobered up. Everything. I started a business. I was not making a lot of money doing this, but then eventually it blew up. It just went crazy. And now I have 6 locations in different cities. And I'm helping people on a regular basis get into treatment. I'm helping them change their lives. So if you can be of service to somebody, after you give up drugs and alcohol, that's the whole value. And the person you come on the way to success, that is also extremely valuable. That's worth more than the actual success. So, if you can implement these things to your viewers into your life, just take step 1. Start waking up earlier. Start working out. Start taking care of yourself. Start monitoring what you're putting into your body. And, just start with that. And you will see that doors just open. When you give it up and you give up the drugs and alcohol, it's almost as if you're sitting in a vehicle in the wintertime and you're waiting for the windows to defrost. And little by little, it becomes more clear. And you start seeing things in a different perspective. That's the mindset shift. And you eventually start seeing things that you didn't see before. And you're like, man, in hindsight, I can see everything that was wrong with my life. Now I can see clearly. So opportunities just start coming. Doors start opening. You start meeting new people. You start widening and broadening your circle of friends, bringing in friends of value, people that add value to your life. And then almost more importantly, adding things to your life is important, but also subtracting things to your life is extremely important. You have to remove the things that are holding you back. And those can be friends that you've had for years. That could be certain family members, love them from a distance if they're the ones that are holding you back. But make a dream for yourself, set a goal for yourself that is so high that everybody thinks you're going to fail. And if everybody thinks you're going to fail, then you're on the right track. If they think you can do it, then your dream isn't big enough. That's my philosophy.
Right, Tony. When you decide or when you become aware of who you are and you want to succeed, even in the worst of situations that you are in, but you get to that point of understanding that I need to, rebuild my life. I need to come out of this place or any place which is, not you don't want to be. How do you do that? Once you know that, okay, you have realized it, that realization awareness has come in. But then doing things on the ground is a totally different thing. Should you consider yourself alone in your journey of personal development and success? Should you only consider about personal development, forget about success because it will come, or should you also focus on the success part as soon as you are out of that situation? How does it work? How did it work for you? What are the tools that you create for yourself, or build around you, either people or in terms of tools, and actually start rebuilding your life towards personal development or even being successful?
So personal development is a lonely road, right? Because you're going to have people that are not cheering you on. You'll find that sometimes the people closest to you are the ones that are limiting you the most, saying you're biting off more than you can chew. Why are you doing this? Why are you just, stay where you're at? You have a good job. You're okay. But, and then reaching out to mentors and is extremely important. So you don't have to do it alone, but it is a lonely journey because you're going to have the deniers. You're going to have the people that don't have any faith in you, but once you start stacking little wins day by day, that is your evidence that you are succeeding. So success, yes, you need to have a clear vision of success. You need to have that end goal, but the value lies in the person you are becoming towards that goal, right? So with your daily achievements and your daily wins, you're growing to a better person. And as these things start happening, you become somebody that's undeniable. And when I say undeniable, I mean, you become somebody that nobody can say you're not doing what you say you are doing. You're keeping these promises to yourself. You have evidence of these wins little by little, no matter how small they are. And eventually the success will come. So yes, the success will come. But I always say you can have the cars, you can have the houses, you can have the properties abroad, and I have these things, but do those things truly make me happy? No, they are just basically a milestone that allow me to remember where I came from. And now I have this, but the real value is the person you become on the journey to that success and on the journey to those milestones. So look, it's a matter of getting started. And as you begin, you never look back. You just keep going. And another thing that I always say, no one's opinion matters but your own. People are going to hate. People are going to say you're not doing it right. People are going to say you can't do it. If I knew 20 years ago that nobody's opinion mattered, if I would have really, really felt that, it would have been a different ballgame. But the reason I drank so much is because I thought I was cool. I thought it was cool. I thought that's how people looked at me. They saw me as the funny drunk guy. I was the funny drunk guy. Look how many girls I can sleep with. Look what I can do. Look, oh, Tony did something stupid again. How funny. He went to jail. But, in hindsight, I was the fool, so, and I did this all because I really cared about what people thought about me. I wanted to be the cool guy. So if you can just take that equation out or take that out of the equation and not care about what people think, it'll serve you. It'll serve you well. It doesn't matter. No one else's opinion matters. Eventually, we'll all be dead. And so will the people that were talking trash about you. They will also be dead. And what will it matter then? We're only here for a very short time. You have to take advantage of it while we're here.
Right, right. How do you set your purpose? Either when you are in a difficult situation, in your case, how did you think about the business part when you are at that particular stage? Why business? Why not something else? Help us
So,
understand that part. And how should people, once decide about their purpose, either when they don't have the money or when they get money enough for themselves? How do they do that? And how do they decide about what to do, especially when they are not doing anything?
okay. So the purpose, here's where people get confused. The goal is not the purpose. The purpose is creating the ultimate version of yourself. That's the purpose. You're building somebody that is so competent and so undeniably aware of his surroundings, self-awareness, right? Your unbreakable mindset. You're creating a person that when bad things happen will be able to walk right through the storm with no problems, because bad times will eventually happen. So you are creating a person of value. That's the purpose. The purpose is creating yourself and bettering yourself. That's the purpose. The goal is not the purpose. The goal is just an achievement. But if you're asking about how do you find what you want to do, it always comes back to being of service, right? Be of service. I knew that I had to help people in the same situation that I was in. So I found I discovered a gap in the industry. Where was the gap in the industry when people were seeking treatment? The gap was that you can't get into treatment for maybe 24 hours, 48 hours. You have to call, wait till business hours. So I get people into treatment within 1 hour. Within 1 hour, my team of patient liaisons will go out, assess the patient, get them to a medical facility that we work with, get them treated, and then we get them off the treatment. So, the purpose for me was very clear. I wanted to help people. I wanted to serve. I wanted to give back. And you got to understand, I went from a 6-figure job with all these benefits to making my business was bringing in $34,000 a year, $34,000 a year, to begin with. And then eventually it blew up and turned into a 7-figure company. But that just comes with time and perseverance and working on yourself. If I didn't become the person that I wanted to be, this business would not have achieved what it has achieved. You have to become the ultimate version of yourself first. It all starts with you. It all starts with you. So work on yourself. I don't care where you live, what you have, what you lack. You always have yourself and your principles. And if you can live by your own principles and stack your wins on a daily basis, you will succeed. And then always actively pursue a larger circle of friends. Find somebody with the success you have, or success you want, pardon me. And then ask them questions. Ask them questions. Follow them. Ask them how they did it. Ask for a mentor. Mentorship is extremely important, and I needed that. I needed somebody to tell me, somebody that had gone through what I had gone through, who was an addict, who had sold their company for over $150 million. I wanted to know how he did it. How did you do this? And I became a mentee of his. And now we're friends. And through that process, I've met several other people that I consider my mentors. And it's just getting in the right rooms, meeting the right people. You will find your purpose eventually. But the true purpose, you'll find your purpose the way you're defining it eventually. But the true purpose is working on yourself. That's the true purpose.
Absolutely. There is much to learn from you, Tony, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to learn from you, about you, and also engage with you professionally. So what's the best way for them to do so?
So I on Instagram is the best way to reach me. If you just shoot me a DM, direct message it's right there at Tony_Palen, and then level up, LVLUP. But if your viewers can see it on the screen there, they can. It's right there. That's the best way to just follow me on Instagram. I post daily. I document my life from 4 a.m. to the moment I go to sleep, and they can see actively, my daily activities.
Wonderful. Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thanks. I appreciate it.